Hi there guys, welcome to another video. So the Warcry starter set is what we're going to look at today. Anyone who wants to see a unboxing for Cypher Lords and the Corpse Rack Mausoleum, drop a subscribe and I'll get to those in the next day or so. We'll also have a look at this ruler, this funky ruler. Okay, right, so this is a beast. So it is footprint size, the same size as the standard Kill Team box or as any other, you know, Blackstone Fortress, or these size boxes are the same. However, it is deep, deep, deep. So let's have a look in here, see what we've got. This really is a monster, this box. Right. Oh, plastic, plastic, plastic. Right, let's see. So, we've got, my God, 1, 2, these are iron golem. Looks like 2 sprues for those. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys. We have, I believe this is the Untamed Beasts. Okay, so I don't know what everything is, but there's, so we've got 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5, 6 sprues of actual minis, and we've got 1. This is really big. In fact, not even finished the sprue on the edges. It comes so close to the edge of the mold. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 big sprues of terrain, and it all looks pretty amazing. Now, if anyone's interested, now if anyone hasn't heard, apparently there are issues when assembling the terrain. The rulebook, or sorry, the assembly guide is lacking somewhat. So I'll be producing a video in the next day or so that's going to show you how to put this together the correct way, so you don't make any mistakes. I think one of the major problems with not putting it together is that the height on certain platforms goes beyond 3 inches. So if you've got an issue with height, I'm told that that is generally because you've put the terrain. That's generally because the terrain's been put together incorrectly. Okay. So that's good. So wow, that is massive, massive epic start. That's a serious load of plastic. Okay, what we got under here? Standard Warcry piece of cardboard to protect all of this stuff from the spiky sprues. So what have we got? 1 token board and 1 playing board. We'll have a look at those in a minute. Clear some space on the table first. Got some decks of cards. Got ability sheets. We'll have a look at those in a minute as well. We've got the core rulebook and the assembly instruction, which we'll have a look at in a minute as well. What's this? So the Warcry Anthology is a book. This is a QR code so you can scan it to read a sample chapter today. That's a bit of promo for that. Got some sexy dice. Got a bunch of bases. Got another bunch of bases. We've got a load of baggies, and we've got a ruler. So cool. Right, let's make a bit of space and then we'll start having a look through all this stuff. Right, let's take a look at the board first. Okay, so our punch board is double-sided. So what is on one side is not on the other. It's quite a lot here. $79 tokens. So that's good. Now I'll show you some of the board. It's very large, so I can't get it open on the kind of full page. But there is that kind of arid, kind of desert scenery. There's a desert look, and on the other side that's yeah. So anyway, so that's cool. Right, what should we look at first? Let's look at the rule book last. So we've got dice. How many dice have we got? 6 red, 6 black, 6 kind of sandy brown. They are all D6s. You get that symbol on them, so that's cool. Don't need to look at bases. Right, what have we got? Development cards. Let's have a look at the development cards. Right, okay. So these are deployment based battle lines. They're all named for different things. Let's give a better look at that. And they are all that sort of thing. So that's good. Right, what we've got, victory cards. Okay, so these victory cards, lots of these. So these are all different things to do to try and win the game. Right, the hidden artifact. Place 1 treasure token on the battlefield floor at the centre of the battlefield. Then starting with the player who won the priority roll. Each player places 1 treasure token on the battlefield more than 9 inches from any other treasure token and 4 inches from the battlefield edge. At the end of the first battle round, the players roll off and the winner picks 1 treasure token on the battlefield, or 1 piece of treasure that is being carried, and removes it from play. At the end of the second battle round, the opposing player does the same. The battle ends after 3 battle rounds. When the battle ends, the player whose fighter is carrying the remaining treasure wins the battle. That's an interesting way of doing it. That's very good actually, very tactical. Let's have a look at one more of these. Right, blunt. The players roll off and the winner chooses who the attacker and who the defender is. If every fighter in the defender's shield is taken down, the attacker wins the battle. Otherwise, after the end of the 4th battle round, the defender wins the battle. Any fighter from the defender's shield that are within 4 inches of the battlefield edge at the end of the battle round, at the end of a battle round, immediately counts as being taken down. If playing in a campaign battle, do not make an injury roll for fighters taken down in this manner. Okay, so they are cool as well. I like those. There's no label on these, so I don't know what they are. Okay, these are, looks like twist cards. Add 1 to the attacks and strength characteristics of all fighters in this battle with 1 or more damage points allocated to them. The Winds of Fate, players roll 7 initiative dice each battle round instead of 6. And let's have a look at one more. Eager for the fight. Add 1 to the move characteristic of all fighters in this battle. So that's good. It's interesting. I like that. So I know there's been a lot of comments about the game being too simplistic and that kind of thing. On not being able to drive the tactics enough. I like the idea of those twist cards and the different victory cards because it doesn't, you know, it catches you unawares, you know. It means you can't prepare for everything. I like that. Right, what have we got here? So these cards are basically different ways to set up the terrain. So I like this. You could draw one of these, set up the terrain in that certain way, and then start your battle from there. Very good. So imagine, for example, where's that one I just saw? So imagine if you're playing and maybe you've got a team that has got a lot of ranged combat and you can set up over here. There's quite a lot of open ground for your opponents to get across so as they can get to you. Or vice versa, you know, you know, no combat there, just holding up, waiting for that ranged combat to come in, and almost staying in the sidelines before it actually arrives. So the range actually isn't a benefit. Very good, like it. Okay, so you get a whole bunch of those. Right, okay, so here are the cards for all of the minis. Now, I believe that these cards are so as, I think let's count up your duplicates of miniatures that you've got. So if you buy a couple of core boxes, so if you buy 2 of them, you've got the potential to have 12 different models on the board. So you're going to have some double ups, and I believe you count those on these cards, just so you can work out which ones are which. So that's that. Let's separate these out. Right, okay. Let's open these as well so as we can look at them both at the same time. Right. So, you got 2 cards for Chaotic Beasts, which are the Raptorix and the Furies. So these are the ability ones. So when you at the start of a round, you're going to roll 6 of these. And so if I just roll that, and you count your doubles, there's a treble there. You've got a double there, that's a single, so it gets discarded. And you can see that on here, the abilities relate to what you get. So the double there, so I can use Cower. Until the end of the battle round, count each critical hit from attack actions that target this fighter as a hit instead. Or Crazed Flock, that's a double one as well. Until the end of this fighter's activation, for each of the other friendly fighters within 3 inches of this fighter, that has the same rune marks as this fighter, add +1 to the attacks and strength characteristics of an attack actions made by this fighter that have a range characteristic of 3 or less. So that's the same on both of these. And you get 2 of these identical because you can get Chaotic Beasts on both sides. So let's have a look at the Chaotic Beast cards. So there you go, you get 2 Fury cards and 2 Raptorix cards. And then all this stuff on here is to do with their stats, which I don't know anything about at the moment because I haven't read the rules or watched too many gameplay videos. Okay, let's now look at the Untamed Beasts. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. And again, so what we'll have here, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think that when we check on the sprues, we'll probably only have enough to make one of these options. So unfortunately, if that's the case, you'd have to actually have 3 core boxes to be able to make all the models. But don't quote me on that because I'm not entirely sure. But let's have a look anyway. So we've got Heart Eaters, First Fang, Beast Speaker, Rock Tusk Prowler, Prey Taker with Sawtooth Blade, Prey Taker with Fanged Axe, and Plains Runners. Okay. There's all the cards that go with them. Let's have a look at the... So, you get doubles, which is for 2. Triples, which is for 3. And actually get quads. So just in case you get 4 the same, you get that. So in this case, it's called Unleash the Beast. Until the end of the battle round, half the value of this ability, rounding up to attacks and strength, to the attacks and strength characteristics of any attack actions made by this fighter that have a range characteristic of 3 or less. Okay, so that's good. And let's have a look at the Iron Golems. So what have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got 2 options of the Iron Legionary. 7, 8, 9. You've got another 2 options of the Iron Legionary. Oh, they're the same model actually. And then Iron Legionary with twin hammers. You got Armator, Iron Legionary with Bolas, Drill Master, Prefector, Signifer, Ogre Breacher, and Dominar. And there's my cat. And then you get all the cards for them as well. So that's very good as well. Okay, and then finally, let's take a look at the book. Right, so we'll start with the assembly instructions. So apparently, yes, there are problems with the assembly of the assembly instructions for the terrain. So apparently there are lots of people that have had issues, and I believe the issues are in these walkways at the top. Apparently, if you get them the wrong way around or something like that, it affects the maximum height of the upward movement, which is 3 inches. But I'll do a separate video on the assembly of this anyway. And what we do is I'll use the assembly guide that I found online, which is apparently the correct way to do it. And so I'll be able to explain kind of how it goes wrong. Okay. So this is all standard stuff. You'll all have seen things like this before. And what I'll do is I'll probably come back and do a review of this, maybe just of the components, a review of just the components. So once I've put everything together, I'll kind of clear up any kind of confusion about how many actual models you get. But yeah, so there we go. Right, so that's that. And let's have a brief look at the rule book. Oh, got one more page on the back. What's in the box? 2 types of creatures known as the Chaotic Beasts, 2 rival warbands, Iron Golem and Untamed Beasts, 3 sets of dice, a selection of tokens to help you keep track of the battle, measuring stick, 4 decks of battle plan cards, a terrain deck, a deployment deck, a victory deck, and a twist deck. A fighter card for each fighter type included in the box. Various terrain features that you can use to build your battlefield. Double-sided battlefield mat. So it's got a getting started thing. I won't read through all of this, but this is basically a really, really condensed version of the rules. And then a rules summary, which I like actually. So let's have a very, very quick look for this. Setting up a battle. Must do your warbands, and it gives you a page reference for the book. Roll for priority, page reference. Choose your battle groups, starting with the player who lost the priority roll. Draw battle plan cards. Resolve battle plan cards in this order: terrain, deployment, victory, and twist. Battle round sequence, the hero phase, the reserve phase, the combat phase. Bit about wild dice. Explanation of the combat phase and what page to find them on in the book. Checks. Strength v toughness, what the hits are and what a critical hit is. All the universal abilities. Chaotic beast abilities they've got on here. So the checks have got a cover, obstacle and falling. I'm really impressed with that actually. I think this is great actually to put in a quick summary. Very good. I'll be using that probably a lot. Okay, so the book. So I'm not going to go deep into this at all, but what do we get? We get setting the scene. A couple of pages of that. Information on what the 8 points is. Call of the Everchosen, the Killing Grounds, the Bloodwind Spoil, information about the Iron Golem, same for the Untamed Beasts, same for Corvus Cavall, Cypher Lords, the Unmade, the Splintered Fang, Scions of the Flame, Spire Tyrants. Then we've got something about Untold Dangers, which goes through, it looks like, the Untamed Beasts. Raiders of the Spoil. Right, so this is going through all of the different factions that we can add into the game. Gloomspite Gits, which I haven't got. Nighthaunt I haven't got. Stormcast Eternals I haven't got. Seekers of Power. Alright, so it's only going through those 3. And it's not mentioning the other 6 that are in, which is the 2 types of orc ones. The Flesh Eater Courts. Let's see if I can remember the other ones. The Daughters of Cain. The Idoneth Deepkin. And there is one more, which escapes me for now. But anyway, Seekers of Power. The murderous warbands that stalk the wilds of the 8 points hail from across the mortal realms. They are as visually distinct from one another as are culturally unique. Each clad in their own characteristic battle dress, wielding a variety of brutal weaponry. All share an aspiration to rise to the heights of glory and will slaughter without mercy any who stand in their way. Okay. So again, this is giving us a visual of all the different models that we've got. Right, and then so on page 32, this is where all the rules stuff starts. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but I'm going to tell you how many pages of rules there is. Okay, so the core rules, it looks like there's about 15, 16 pages. Then it starts going through what all the rune marks are in the game. Rune marks are actually important to get this information down, because what you'll notice is that on all of the character cards, there's only the runes on there. There's no actual text to tell you what anything is. The reason for that is quite simply to save Games Workshop some money, so they don't have to print this in multiple languages. So that's cool. A bit about open play. A lot about open play. Narrative play. Matched play. Now this is the campaign section. Used alongside the rules in the narrative play section, which is page 62 to 71. This section contains all of the resources you will need to embark on your Warband's quest for glory and power. In the following pages you will find campaign quests for every faction playable in Warcry. Whatever allegiance you choose, you will brave the deadly wilds of the 8 points and make war upon your rivals, gaining unique skills and artifacts as you spread your influence across the land. As you progress upon your individual story path, you will come to several critical junctures, each with an exciting accompanying narrative. Each campaign quest culminates in a thrilling final battle. Should you triumph, You will earn a mighty reward and perhaps even gain the favour of the ever-chosen himself. Okay, so quite a lot about that. So what have we got? Conquer the Forge. So it's got rules for territory. Cursed Metal. It's easy campaigns. Conquer the Forge, Cursed Metal, Hunt for Fire Scar, Tooth and Claw, War of Talons, Hunger of Isiphus, Spy in the House of Talons, Cold Vengeance. Yeah, there's really is a lot here. Blimey, there really is a lot. This is great. Right, and then as we get towards the back, spoils of victory. So through cunning, fearlessness and the strength of arms, you have triumphed over your rivals and left your mark on the Bloodwind spoil. Under your leadership, your warband has grown into a truly deadly force, feared by all who have heard of the legends of their exploits. Your tale is not over yet, but for now you can relish the rewards of victory. And then whatever those rewards are, you find out for each individual faction in here. And that includes, that other one I couldn't remember, Legions of Nagash. So, yeah, and that includes all of the different ones that are added into the game as well. Background tables. So, yeah, I'm not going to go through this anymore, but this is very cool. In fact, sorry, I'll just show you one thing. All of the twist cards and all that kind of thing that are in the box, and the terrain cards and all those, they are in this book as well. The reason I say that is there is an actual box called Battlefield Plans. I think it's called Battlefield Plans, which basically includes those decks. So that's that. So what do we think of Warcry? I think it's going to be huge, and I'm really looking forward to playing it. But I'd be interested to know what everyone else thinks. So next up, I shall do an unboxing of the Corpse Rack Mausoleum. And then following that, I'll do the Cypher Lords. I will also be doing, again, my build guide for the core box terrain. And if that goes down well, I'll do another build guide for the Corpse Rack Mausoleum. I've also got another few videos, Warcry, on the way. I've got one for the Daughters of Cain. I've got one for the Flesh Eater Courts. I've got one for Nagash as well. All basically how to put together a warband and that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, drop us a subscribe, and you'll see them as soon as they are up. I'm expecting to get all of these up in the next 2 to 3 days anyway. But there you go, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and if you didn't, let me know in the comments. See you later.